This is lesson 2.1, Writing Equations. Your objectives are to translate sentences into equations and to translate equations into sentences. Writing equations is one strategy for solving problems. You can use a variable to represent an unspecified number or measure referred to in a problem. Then you can write a verbal expression as an algebraic expression. In addition to all the phrases we use for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, we now need to pay attention to the phrases for the equal sign. You could use equals, is equal to, is the same as. All of those refer to the equal sign. Example 1. Translate each sentence into an equation or formula. Remember, each of these are now going to be equations with an equal sign. A. 10 times the number x is equal to 2.8 times the difference y minus z. So, take each piece and put it into the equation. So, 10 is the number 10, times is multiplying, a number x is equal to is your equal sign, 2.8 is the number 2.8, times is multiplying, the difference is your minus sign, and what are you subtracting? Y minus z. Then they polish it up a bit, getting rid of the multiplication signs. Instead of 10 times x, just say 10x. Instead of 2.8 times the quantity, just do 2.8 parentheses y minus z. B. A number m minus 8 is the same as a number n divided by 2. So, match it up. A number m is your m, minus is subtracting, 8 is the same as is your equal sign. A number n is your n, divided by is the division sign, 2 is 2. And then they polish it up a little bit. Instead of saying n divided by 2, they just say the fraction n over 2. C. The area of a rectangle equals the length times the width. Well, the area of a rectangle would be A for area. Equals is your equal sign. The length is L for length. Times is multiplying. And the width is W for width. And when you polish that up, A equals L times W. Example 2. Use the 4-step problem-solving plan. The population of the United States in July 2007 was about 301 million, and the land area of the United States is about 3,500,000 square miles. Find the average number of people per square mile in the United States. Well, step 1 is explore, where you want to see what the question gives you and what they're asking. You know there are 301 million people. You want to know how many people per square mile. Step 2 is your plan. Write an equation to represent the situation. If P represents the number of people per square mile, then you know 3,500,000 times P equals 301 million. Step 3 is solve. Well, if you have that equation, divide each side by 3,500,000, and P is 86. So there are 86 people per square mile. Then check. If there are 86 people per square mile, and there are 3,500,000 square miles, then 86 times 3,500,000 should equal 301 million. So the answer makes sense. With word problems like this, always break it down. Make sure you know what they're asking you for. Make sure you use the numbers correctly that they give you. And make sure that your answer makes sense. Translate each sentence into an equation or formula. Number 1. 3 times a number t minus 12 equals 40. Well, 3 is 3. Times is multiplying. A number t is t. Minus is subtracting. 12 is 12. Equals is your equal sign. 40 is the number 40. And to polish that up, instead of saying 3 times t, just say 3t. Number 2. 1/2 of the difference of a and b is 54. Well, 1/2 is half. Of is multiply. The difference of means I'm going to subtract something. What am I subtracting? A and b. So do a minus b. Is your equal sign. 54 is 54. And to polish that, I don't need to say the multiplication sign. So just do 1/2 parentheses a minus b equals 54. Number 3. 3 times the sum of d and 4 is 32. Well, 3 is 3. Times is multiplying. The sum of means I'm going to add some things together. What am I adding together? D and 4. Is equals. 32 is 32. And again, you don't need that multiplication sign, so just 3 parentheses, d plus 4 equals 32. Number 4. The area of a circle is the product of pi and the radius r squared. The area of a circle is a. Is your equal sign. The product of means I'm multiplying some things together. What am I multiplying? Pi. And the radius r squared. Now, I don't need the multiplication sign, and I really don't need the parentheses either. So I can just say a equals pi r squared. Number 5. Lou wants to lose weight to audition for a part in the play. He weighs 160 pounds now. He wants to weigh 150 pounds. If P represents the number of pounds he wants to lose, write an equation to represent this situation. Well, he starts at 160 pounds. He needs to lose P pounds. Losing is subtracting, so we'll subtract P. He wants to weigh 150 pounds, so after that takes place, he will now weigh 150 pounds. So there's the equation. 160 minus P equals 150. How many pounds does he need to lose to reach his goal? 160 minus what is 150? Well, P is 10 pounds. You can also translate equations into verbal sentences. Translate each equation into a sentence. 4n minus 8 equals 12. Well, you can pretty much write the sentence the way you say the equation. Your 4n could be 4 times n. Minus is minus. 8 is 8. Equals is your equal sign. And 12 is 12. Example B, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, they broke it down as the sum of, because I'm adding together two things. What am I adding? The squares of a and b. Equals would be is equal to, and c squared is the square of c. Now, could you have just written out a squared plus b squared equals c squared? Sure. There's lots of correct answers for these. Just write down the phrase that comes to mind. Translate each equation into a sentence. Number 1. 4a minus 5 equals 23. Well, 4 is 4, and it's being multiplied by a, so I'll say times a. Then I'm subtracting, so I'll say minus, what am I subtracting? 5. The equals is equal to, and then 23. Number 3, 6xy equals 24. 6 is 6. I'm multiplying by x and I'm multiplying by y, so I can say times x times y. Equals is equals, and then 24. Number 5, p plus 3 equals 2p. Well, I could say p plus 3, but here's another way you could see it. Since I'm adding, I could say the sum of, what am I adding? P and 3. That equals, so I could say is, and what is that? 2 times p. There are lots of ways to write a correct answer for these. Just choose the phrase that comes to mind. Number 7. 100 minus 2x equals 80. Well, 100 is 100. Minus is minus. And I'm saying 2 times x, which is the product of 2 and x. Equals is equals, and it equals 80. For number 9, p squared minus 2p equals 9. P squared is simply p squared minus 2 times p. Equals is equal to, and 9 is 9. Number 11, v equals 1/3 bh. V is v, equals is equals, 1/3 is 1/3, and that's times b, and that's times h. So as you're doing these, remember all of the phrases for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, and then the new phrases for equals. Make sure that your sentence is grammatically correct and that it flows properly. And when you write an equation, polish it up a little bit and don't leave any multiplication signs that are unnecessary or things like that.